Hello and welcome to the video. This is a follow-up video to one I did a few weeks ago talking about these things here. This is the DJI digital HD FPV system, and in that video I talked a lot about my experience with them, how to set them up in a very no-hype way. But one of the things I did talk about was these things here. Now these are the patch antennas that you can get from MenaceRC. It's now available as a kit, and I mentioned it, and it's actually just come out a couple of days ago. I was lucky enough that I've been playing with these for a while. Now this kit is using technology from MenaceRC and antennas that I already really like. In fact, if you have been watching for a while, you will notice that I have Pico patches, which is essentially what's on this thing, along with the pagodas on my Fat Shark Bifrost test equipment here. So I have been using MenaceRC antennas for digital flying for quite a while. So these Pico patches as well have been available in the left-hand circular polarized orientation that you need for this system, but now they're available in black, so they kind of go with that kind of night vision goggle look for the rest of the goggles. Now the difference between these antennas, these Pico patches, and the antennas that are on the goggles is pretty significant. These are all left-hand circular polarized, and the antennas on here, the maximum they're going to have is going to be about 2 dB. A Pico patch has a sensitivity of over 9 dB. Now if you remember, if you check out my Antenna Lab series, I explain this in a lot more detail, but the way it works is that typically a 3 dB change is going to give you twice the signal, and a 6 dB change is going to give you twice the range. That's the way it works in analog land anyway. It's that inverse square law. So you have to make the received signal or the power, the difference 6 dB in order to go a lot farther. The good news is that these are more than 6 dB more sensitive than these antennas. Now the way it works on these goggles is that the bottom antennas are receive only, the top two are transmit and receive, and they don't work in the same traditional diversity setup as you do with the analog systems that we're used to with FPV. It uses another system where it's actually retransmitting the same signal multiple times, and by having the 4 antennas you've got a reasonable shot of hearing it on one of them. One of them is going to be closely enough aligned. But in this setup it's very similar to what you might experience on your Fat Sharks or other analog systems, where you have these little dipoles at the top which are both receiving and transmitting, so never ever turn the goggles on without antennas installed. And then you have these much more sensitive patches out here at the bottom, which will give you a lot more sensitivity on these two receiving antennas. So it's no surprise to me that these actually work really well. You know what? They've been working fantastically well on my analog kit. They're also working really well on my Bifrost stuff too. So surprise, surprise, they work exactly the same. It's just great to have black versions of them now so that you don't have that kind of purple patch. I wish that they did special versions, special editions of these in lots of different colors. I think that will be quite a fun thing for Menace to do. I've been flying with these for probably 2 or 3 weeks, and I have found that they have improved outdoor flying. I'm not sure they're giving exactly twice the range, but I guess that's exactly because all of it is kind of working in concert, including these goggles are actually talking to the airside unit. But what I have noticed is that where I normally fly, some of the little breakup at the edge of range and things like that, particularly on lower powers, are not as pronounced. The biggest difference I've seen is actually when you're flying in those kind of indoor environments where there's a lot of multipathing, because the Picos, all the Picos, are actually very good at rejecting multipath signals, and that is probably, if you're flying these indoors and you're seeing kind of breakup and problems with multipathing, that's probably where you're going to get the most benefit from using these straight out the box. If you're flying outdoors and you're just flying around, then you're still, in my experience anyway, going to see a definite benefit, but I wouldn't say that using these is going to give you twice the range in the same way that they would on an analog system over something like a dipole antenna. Now you could of course replace all 4 antennas. I've seen people who are doing that with other patch variants, and that would also give these antennas much more directionality. The other thing you have to be careful, of course, with patches is that whereas these are omnidirectional, they will receive a signal from pretty much any direction, which is why we've got 4 at all these different angles to try and give you the best chance of receiving a signal. The patches are not. The patches on here, because these are Pico patches, it's the same performance as Pico patches, so it's about a 61-degree angle before you lose about 3 dB of the signal, and 3 dB again is about half of the sensitivity. So realistically, when you mount them, you don't want them pointing exactly straight on, you want them kind of bent out a little bit, so that gives you the maximum view of the sky. Less useful if you're going to be flying around yourself and behind yourself, but if you're like me, you tend to fly at the edge of the area that you're flying in. These are a great addition for your goggles. So link in the description down below if you are flying these and you would like to try and get more sensitivity on these bottom antennas, or you're flying indoors and you're having those issues with multipathing, then these are definitely worth a go. Thank you for watching my video and watching right to the very end. If you want to find out what I'm currently working on, you can follow me on social media by searching for Painless360 in the usual places. If you'd like to become part of the inner circle, then you can become a Patreon. Details are in the description and you get lots of additional benefits. Check out the playlist section on the channel too. I organise all of my videos into playlists, and it's called something like Introduction to or for Beginners. All of the content is aimed so that you can start at the very beginning, and it teaches you that subject, starting with simple principles and moving up to teach you everything you need to know.